The Manifestor. Okay. Way back in the day, hundreds of years ago, the Manifestors were the true kings and queens. They were the visionaries, they were the leaders. They moved people, they moved matter. The Manifestors were the ones who made up the rules and who had the vision, and they employed the generators to see that vision out. Now, obviously, we live in a time where that's not the case anymore. There aren't really any true kings or queens. Generators aren't slaves, of course. But Manifestors still have this. They have it like in their blood. I'm a manifestor. So it's like this need to carry out a vision, this need to sort of rule almost. I always say I'm the queen of my castle, and I really mean that, like not in just like a joking way. The queen of my castle, like we manifestors, we get these visions, we get these ideas, and it's almost like a compulsive need to see them through. And as soon as we take action, as soon as we initiate, which is what we're here to do, to initiate, as soon as we initiate, everything follows, right? So the manifestor aura is dense, it's repelling, it's not the best word to use, I like to use pushing, but it's dense, it's pushing, it's closed. And there's a reason for that. And remember that this doesn't describe the personality, it only describes the mechanics of the aura, which is about 6 feet around you in all directions. So the reason why the manifestor aura is this way is because unlike other types, generators or reflectors or projectors, where life comes in and then they make a decision based on what's coming in, whether it be an invitation or something they're responding to, something they're sampling. Life comes to them and then they make a decision whether they're going to pursue that or how they're going to pursue that. But the manifestor, life comes through them from the inside. So the manifestor aura is closed because the manifestor needs to be sort of deaf to influence to a certain degree, right? Because if everything's coming in, if the manifestor aura is like a generator aura and everything is coming in, the manifestor isn't going to have those sort of like divine urges from within. It's almost like the manifestor is connected to the stars, connected to this this other information, this divine information, and it comes in, and that is where they have the desire and the need to move. And that is where authority comes into play. And so depending on the manifestor's authority, which could be emotional, it could be ego, or it could be splenic, that is how they will decide how to proceed. Am I going to act on this urge or not? Am I going to act on this divine message or not? Am I going to make my vision come to life? And from there, after they've made their decision, then the strategy comes into play. The strategy is to inform. So here's the thing about manifestors. This aura is intimidating, and it's not necessarily on a conscious level. We don't walk into a room and people go, oh my gosh, it's a manifestor, I'm so intimidated. No, it's all in the mechanics of the aura. So if a manifestor walks into the room, there's a good chance that that manifestor is the only one in the room, or maybe one of 2 or one of 3. And so all these other auras you know, they contract when they come into contact with the manifestor aura. The manifestor is pushing. Remember? Pushing, pushing, pushing. And so all these auras, they contract. And so people on an unconscious level feel that. And they feel the power of the manifestor. Remember, the manifestor is here to impact. Manifestors impact. They impact everywhere they go. They impact everyone they come into contact with in some way. It might not happen immediately. It might take time. You know, and the impact might not be positive, but there will be some sort of impact. So people energetically feel the presence of a manifestor. The manifestor has to inform when they're about to initiate, okay? The manifestor can seem unpredictable because it's like, okay, we're going along, and this person, this manifestor is this certain way, and then boom, suddenly the manifestor is acting on something, and it's like everything is going so fast. Manifestors move so fast when they get going. And that can be really unpredictable, and that can be almost like scary to some people. And to those people, whether consciously or unconsciously, they can have this compulsion to control the manifestor. And so a lot of times what happens, and manifestors are deeply, deeply conditioned because we're in a world full of other types, right? We're the minority. So what can happen is that the manifestor's conditioning, part of it is that people can feel like they want to control the manifestor. They don't want them to be unpredictable. So like when a manifestor child comes into the world, for instance, the parents are like, oh snap, what is happening? Because immediately the impact is felt from the manifestor. It's like a powerful feeling. And the manifestor just wants to do what it wants to do. It wants freedom. It wants freedom to move, freedom to be creative, freedom to act on those divine urges. And so as children, it's really difficult, and they can be very often misunderstood. And so as parents, a lot of times we want to control our child's behavior. It's not aligned for the manifestor. The manifestor needs to learn how to ask permission. That's the version of informing as a child. Otherwise, if you don't inform, if you don't ask for permission as a manifestor, you are met with resistance, right? People don't understand you, what you're doing. They're afraid of the impact it's going to have on them because it's unknown. So consider, after you make your decision, yes, I'm acting on this, consider, who might this impact? As a manifestor child, you know, sitting and playing in his room, and suddenly looks out the window and sees a tree, a climbing tree, right? It looks great. I want to go climb on that tree. Or maybe looks out the window and sees a friend in the yard playing. The manifestor thinks, I want to play that, and runs out the door and goes to play. Meanwhile, the parents are like, WTF, where did my kid go? And they get scolded or punished or, you know, controlled in some way. And so this teaches the manifestor that what they want is not right. The way that they act is not right. So it's so important to teach them to ask for permission as children, and then as adults, it's so important to learn to inform. So think about who is going to be impacted and then inform. Another important thing, that is the manifestor strategy, but the manifestor also wants to be informed. So as the manifestor needs to inform of, you know, anyone who's going to be impacted by their action or their decision, they want the same. They want detail. They want clarity. Right? If a manifestor gets to the point where they have this divine urge and they're ready to act, they made their decision through their authority, the decision is made, they're clear. Right? They move quickly. They expect the same from other people, which may or may not be correct, right? But they expect to be informed. They want to know what's going on. So that's one need of the manifestor. And I mentioned before, manifestors, they really just want this freedom. We're lone wolves as manifestors because we're the minority, and also because we have that aura that's so closed. And so we move through the world on our own. We move through the world in our own unique way. And so we require this independence. We require this freedom. And when we don't have that, we get angry. The not self theme of the manifestor is anger. And this can play out for a lot of different reasons. It can play out when conditioned deeply. So if we're conditioned to be, to follow the rules and to never have our alone time, never have our freedom, we'll get angry. Another way in which we're deeply conditioned as manifestors is, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're living in a world that's 70% generators and manifesting generators. And what makes a generator or a manifesting generator such is that they have a defined sacral center. That sacral center, when it's defined, is this buzzing life force energy. It's consistent. It's always there. They always have access to it, right? And so when we're living in a world full of those people and we don't have that, so all the other types, so manifestor, projector, reflector, we don't have that defined sacral. We don't have that consistent energy. Manifestor energy works in big spurts through the vision, through the message, through the action. It happens all at once and it happens very, very quickly, but then it's done. It's gone. And we need deep, deep rest. Sometimes for a long time. The manifestor is here to rest until it doesn't want to anymore, until it has something to act on. But we live in a world full of generators, and we're taught to go, 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 do, hustle, whatever. It's not aligned for us. And so that not self-anger can come out because we're just freaking exhausted. We're tired of running around. We're tired of being told all the things that we have to do. We're tired of being told all the things that we can't do. We're tired of being around people all the time, right? And when we don't have our needs met, our anger comes out. Our not self theme of anger comes out. So when you feel angry as a manifestor, am I tired? Are my needs being met? Do I have an idea that I want to act on, but I feel as though I cannot for whatever reason? And also this informing that we do, this strategy of informing, it works in different ways. Like informing someone, okay, I'm hungry, I'm gonna go in the kitchen and make some dinner. Okay, that's just that individual moving through space, and they're informing someone before they're about to move. Great. Because if they were to, if you're in the middle of a conversation and suddenly you're hungry and you just get up and go in the kitchen, the other person's going to be pissed. Just inform them. I'm super hungry. I want to continue this conversation later, but I need to make dinner now. And then there's also emotional informing. There's something emotional I need to talk to you about. Can we do this now? So it's informing that there's something that's bothering me. There's something emotional that needs to come out of me. Because manifestors want to communicate. We have the defined throat. That's all manifestors have that. So we want to communicate in our own unique way, but we need to inform first. Not everyone's ready for us. When we just come out and we communicate, especially something emotional, we have a huge impact. It's an emotional impact. In collaboration, informing, I want to go out to dinner with you. Is that good for you? So informing in that way as well. This also works like in the dating world. A lot of times, it's a line for manifestors to make the first move, female or not. I really like you. I want to have dinner with you. Is that good for you? And then one thing that we need to learn also as manifestors, part of this informing piece is when it involves other people, we have to be patient. because manifestors do move very quickly when they've made a decision. And so sometimes it's we get angry because we get frustrated or angry because we want everyone else to move at the same pace, but they can't. They just can't. They're not designed the same way, right? So we have to learn patience. When it's something that we want to do that involves other people, we have to consider that just because we've informed them doesn't mean that they're ready in the same way that we are, or we can get angry. But the manifestor signature theme is peace. And so when the manifestor has their freedom, their independence, they've learned how to inform, they have, and I don't mean ask for permission unless it's a child, but as an adult, inform. When they've learned all this and they're truly living their strategy and authority, they will experience peace. And that's all the manifestor wants, peace. The manifestor wants peace to be able to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. It's so important to learn your aura and your strategy and your type and all that. So really embody this and ask yourself truthfully how you might feel out of alignment with your type as a manifestor. And then once you know that, then we can go a little bit deeper and start to uncover what has been shoved down. Yeah? Hopefully this was helpful, guys. If you are a manifestor, love to you. If someone you love is a manifestor and this has helped you understand them better, I'm so glad. And I will talk to you soon.